Welcome to the Big Dawg Crypto Podcast. This is your number one crypto podcast to hear directly from the movers and shakers, innovators, and disruptors in the cryptocurrency industry. Follow on Twitter for updates and to communicate directly at Woof Big Dawg. That's at Woof Big DAWG. Now, here is your host, the one and only Big Dawg Crypto.
And welcome to the latest episode of the Big Dawg Crypto Podcast. I'm your host, Big Dawg Crypto. Aladeen, how are you doing?
Hey, man. Thank you so much for having me here, Big Dawg. I'm doing very well right now, enjoying the cold weather as we just spoke about. Thank you for having me, man. It's nice over here. I like being in the call with you.
Nice. Well, look, I appreciate you coming on. I followed your account for a while and I enjoy your content. I wanted to ask you, looking at the markets right now, what are your thoughts on Bitcoin and what's going on?
To be honest, I take the market level by level, right? So I was bullish and I was bearish just like in the last week, bullish and bearish, right? Both, right? So at the moment, just last night I closed all my longs, so I did expect a little dip. And the market right now, we're dipping right now. So I'm just a little pissed that I didn't short the market, to be honest. But look, again, we are above the EMAs. I mean, the charts look fine. The narratives are very pro Bitcoin right now. So I am still bullish. And I will remain bullish as long as we hold the 24K area, 25K area, So far I'm bullish, but I will take things by the step, right? So I'm not gonna really tell you that I think Bitcoin is gonna go to 35K because you don't know what they're gonna say tomorrow in the news and change everything, right? Yeah. So that's
well, it's and you're right about that. It's interesting though, because you look at the FTX situation, right? And obviously, one of the worst things to happen, we really only dropped about 20%. And to me, and you've been in the space a while, and I'm in the space for a little bit, it's kind of like, I feel like 5 or 6 years ago, we'd have dropped 70 or 80%. Did it surprise you that when all was said and done, it was really just a 20% drop?
It kind of did surprise me, but also in the same time, not really. And I'll tell you why, because I am personally a strong believer that things are planned, markets move because they are meant to move that way. I feel like there's more hand into it. So yes, it was just a 20% drop. I personally expected much worse. Like I thought there was going to be like a black swan kind of event, way worse than what it was. But then, the reality of the matter is that the industry is still very young and it's still, controlled per se, right?
Yes.
You have X amount of money, you can move markets. So really, yes, it's surprising, but at the same time, it's like, okay, well, they do this all the time. I mean, we've seen the market dip so many times,
right?
And at the worst times, China bans, FTX, BitConnect back in the day, a lot of things. And, I think it's
always something.
Yeah, it's always something, just like any other dip. Like, I'm not going to say, oh my God, it's the end of the world.
Yeah, well, no, and that's good. I mean, so let me ask you this. So how long have you been in this? Like, do you remember, as I always like to ask my guests, I'm always very interested because we all discovered at different times. Do you remember where you were and what you were doing when you heard about Bitcoin and what year it was?
Okay, it was 2000. I was in class doing my bachelor in 2000 and I think it was 14 or 15. Yeah, it was either 14 or 15. I was in class. We're talking about Bitcoin. Our professor spoke about Bitcoin and how it is he mentioned that he mentioned it's a way to purchase drugs online.
Several people have said that.
Yeah, that is what he told me. And that was the first time I ever heard about Bitcoin. And but
back in the day, a lot of people thought.
Tell you what, like I did a little bit of research, but I still didn't get into it, not deep into it, because at the time I was really like invested and interested in other things.
Right.
But I think it was in 2018. 18 is when I got deep into the market. But I was very fortunate to get into the markets with the help of someone who's already been in the market since 2016, right? So I got all the information, all the knowledge, all the insights all the, all the crazy shit that happened in those days.
Right.
Like I was told everything from the first day. So I felt like I was already in deep.
Right.
And I felt like, okay, I've been in here for 3 years before it started. Yeah.
That's cool. It's just cool that you had a professor talk about it, because everybody hears different ways. And you're the first person I've ever heard that actually on a podcast that said that heard about it in class. And that's kind of cool.
It was a culture class.
Yeah. Well, do you, looking at the halving coming up beginning, or I think March of 2024, do you want to get, because I feel like, and I ask my guests this, some want to, some don't. I always tell people, when you ask me this question, right? I mean, my crystal ball from Amazon hasn't arrived, but do you want to guess all-time high, or do you want to guess a price action, let's say from the halving to the end of 2025? I mean, do you think it'll surpass what it did in the end of 21, right? I mean, what sort of ballpark range are you looking at if you had to kind of guesstimate?
I mean, look, I'm always in disbelief, because it's like, how much more, to me, okay, it's like, okay, how much more is a certain government or a certain group of people who make mistakes that's going to drive the price of an asset like Bitcoin up, right? Because Bitcoin is heavily, dependent on situations and times and, like what's happening in the market, and if there's a war or not, these are the things that drive the price of Bitcoin, other than just the halving. It just so happens that the halving comes every time we have an economical crisis, right? Every time bad, the halving happens at the same time. Isn't that suspicious to you? So
I never thought about that. But
right. So this is where my mind is at, and like I'm also kind of in disbelief. Like, okay, you know what? This time they're not gonna mess up. This time they're not gonna mess up. This time, but then you look at the history of money, and you look at the history of the stock market, and you look at, like, you go all the way back to the times when the Dutch even started this whole, financial markets.
Sure.
And you notice that there is a pattern.
Mm-hmm.
And with that pattern, it's like a chart that keeps going up. Like, the Plan B chart.
Yeah.
It's something like this, right? So I do think, part of me does think that Bitcoin will surpass the 69,000, 70,000 mark that we had. But I'm very realist. So I will say that it will happen only if, if and only if we have other catalysts, like, I don't know, Fed's printing or whatever it is. So I do think that we could go there. From what it looks like, we are going there, right? A price, it's easy to put 10, 20% on top of the previous all-time high and tell you, hey, we're going to hit 100K, right? It all depends, again, on the narrative. It depends on,
you're right. Yeah,
it's so dependent on the nature, on everything that's happening, that it's so hard for me to just give you a number. I don't understand people who say we're going to hit 200K, 500K, 100K by the end. No, I didn't know where I was going to be yesterday.
Yeah, right. No, but you're right though, because we see this all over Twitter. I mean, people love to make predictions. I mean, I've done it before. I'm personally, I like to kind of guess the bottom we're going to be. I usually don't guess the top, because I've been off in that so many times. I've been, thankfully, pretty close to the bottom the past couple of years, but whatever, like things that make us happy. But that being said, there's always that caveat. And so when somebody says it's going to hit directly, like it's going to be, 120, I agree with you more. It's harder because of the right? Look, who thought FTX would go down? Right? Nobody. That was not on the crypto bingo card. So to sit there and say, it's like I said, it's always fun to guess, and I enjoy it. It's speculative, but so much stuff could happen. Look at all the stuff that has happened. It's like, what's coming next? We don't know.
Just a few days ago, Tether was always the stable coin that was shady. Like, they had this shady reputation, but then the depegging happened with USDC, right? So it's really. It's a topic that you can talk about it for days, and you can have 1,000 different reasons why it should go up and 1,000 different reasons why it should go down. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it depends on people. If people feel that this is a safe haven, they're going to go towards it. Naturally, they're going to go towards it. And big hedge funds are also run by human beings.
Right.
So if they also think, and they're going to be very logical with their decisions because they're playing with money. So if they think that traditional markets is not the way, then it's not the way. You know what I mean? So I think like, with time.
No, I'd agree with you on that. As far as in the space, what sort of stuff were you doing before you got into crypto?
Oh my God. So I have a background in photography, content creation, actually. Social media, all that stuff. Like I did videography, photography for brands. I worked with Chaumet, Gégé Lecoultre, Tiffany, Joe Malone, Farfetch, Ford, Lincoln, Mercedes-Benz.
Oh, wow.
Brands. Yeah, I did a lot of that stuff. But I also studied hospitality. So I was in the hotel business as well, hotel and restaurant business. I did that, hotels and restaurants. I did content creation, media. And then it was crypto first and then watches.
Okay, well, so because that's you're bringing. I wanted to ask you about the watches coming up.
So basically, my background is, as I told you, art and all that stuff. But after 2018, I always loved watches. It's like a thing for me ever since I was a kid. Now, I was never deep into like reading about them and knowing the brands and stuff, but I just had like a connection. I really liked watches for some, I don't know, maybe because I wore one ever since child. Regardless, I was fortunate enough to partner with a friend who already whose family is in 70 years in jewelry. And I got to partner with him, and that's how I got into the watch business. And right now, ultimately, I do jewelry and watches. So we have two companies based out of Dubai. We do jewelry and watches. And on my free time, I have investments, and then I like to scalp and trade sometimes. So it's like a combination of all, and it's a circulation at the end of the day. If the crypto market is doing well and the trade is doing well, then I know that the price of my assets, you know what I'm trying to say? Like I'm in diamonds, watches. So it's all kind of interlinked. And I kind of enjoy that, that oomph in life. I like to spoil myself, if I may say, However, I am trying to practice humbleness, right? I don't wearing anything right now. I don't want to, I want to promote that crazy lifestyle. But growing up in Dubai, you kind of fall into that. Hotels are a thing, restaurants are a thing, and luxury lifestyle is a big thing over there. So naturally, I followed it.
Interesting you say that, because Dubai was a place, being here in the States, I never thought I'd go. I mean, heard of it, didn't know much about it. Got a chance to go in the fall of 2021, stayed for 2 weeks. I would have stayed longer if I didn't come back and get my dog. I mean, I love Dubai. Yeah. It was amazing. What a cool place.
And the dog thing in Dubai as well, by the way, they're not very it's not very dog friendly. Well, I had my dog at like the dog daycare, and I couldn't, like 2 weeks, like, you gotta come back and get him. But I would have stayed in Dubai longer. I was like, you talked about like the luxury and there's a lot of money in Dubai, but essentially too, Dubai is turning into a crypto capital. I mean, you're seeing so much stuff moving there. How often do you make it back to Dubai? Oh, well, I haven't gone to Dubai in the last 4 months right now, but because I just came to America, but I intend on staying 6 months, 7 months out of the year in Dubai, and then just coming around to the States. Because look, at the end of the day, our business, the luxury lifestyle and the luxury products industry is primarily boosted online, right? It's online business, and online media is very powerful in the West, right? It's like if you advertise on New York and Times Square or Hollywood, this perception of London and Beverly Hills and all that stuff in the Middle East. So I am currently working on marketing our brand in the West and then selling it.
Very cool. Yeah, very cool. Yeah.
Gucci actually did that. They launched a perfume that was specifically made for the Middle East. And then when they launched it, they couldn't sell anything. 3 months. Really? 3 months in, they emptied the entire all the stock. They sent everything to Harrods London. And Harrods London is owned by Middle Easterns. If you don't know, you know now. Like owned by Qatar royal family, like some Emirates royal family as well. So they shifted everything over there, and they sold out in like 10 days.
Oh wow!
right? But the same kind of people, the same market. They sold out to the Middle Eastern people, but from there, you understand what I mean? But there's this perception, so that's what I'm trying to do right now.
Well, yeah, at the end of the podcast, I'm asking about your Twitter handle, but I mean, looking at your page, you have pictures of a lot of beautiful watches, and that was my next. The watch question was coming up, so I'm glad you said it, because I was like, "That's some cool watches you got. You got, for him and her and all that." Yeah. Yeah,
we are one of, I would say, I would confidently say that one of the best dealers to buy, because we also buy like very heavy pieces. And because we do that, we're also just open to all these things, right? Once you're a buyer, you're always a buyer.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. Well, as far as with crypto stuff, people, so I'm thankful. I have a lot of new people listening and watch the podcast and whatnot. Somebody that's in the space that's just getting in now, what would you advise them? They're trying to research, whether it's projects, whether it's Bitcoin, just whether it's content, for new people. Because I feel like when I got in 2017, and it was so much junk that I watched. I mean, there's some good, right? But there's some junk. I always tell people, always verify. But what would you advise someone as a couple of ways to learn about the space and to learn about what direction they want to go in?
I'd say you need to shadow someone. Okay. Honestly, like there's no way you can find someone good on YouTube that will teach you the right thing. Like, how are you going to judge? There's so many people out there who do the same thing. How do you know who's good, who's bad, who's genuine, who's not, right? So I would say shadow someone. I would say find a friend within the community that sort of knows, where things are and what he's doing, and shadow them and just go take it from there, because there is a lot of factors to take in. Narrative, news, the history of the project. So many different things. Are you a trader? Are you a day trader? Are you an investor? Do you want to buy NFTs? There's so many different things, so many different factors. So you can't just, I think a person cannot just enter, by himself and just discover things, unless you have some kind of a knowledge, some kind of understanding about financial markets. It's going to be impossible. The best way is shadow someone.
And let me ask you this, and I'm kind of putting you on the spot here. With me, like there's a lot of accounts I like, and it might take me a second to think of which ones. Is there any particular Twitter accounts, let's say, that you would say? Because look, we know there's a lot of ones I always say on crypto Twitter. Some people call it Bitcoin Twitter, but there's so many good accounts. There's a lot of bad, right? But there's a lot of good. Yeah. Is there a couple of accounts that you enjoy a lot that you might recommend, aside from yours? But you know what I mean? That people might want to follow?
I mean, yeah, for sure. I will recommend, well, partly my recommendations are going to be like educational purpose, but also because I just enjoy, the
content.
Yeah, I just enjoy the banter. I really like Trading Lord's page, primarily because Trading Lord is the person who got me into crypto.
Okay.
Right? And he's a maxi, he's a Bitcoin maxi, and he's such a believer. So if you listen to him, he's very pure at heart. So whatever he says is coming from like the most honest place, right? Even if he says something that does not really, I don't know, let's say, God forbid, he says something that is taken in the wrong way, it's still sincere, right? So definitely follow him. Definitely follow Trader Main and Trader SZ. They're really good TA, and they teach you how to really, like, if you disregard all the bullshit that happens on Twitter, you can learn something from them.
Right. Now, I had Trader Man on one of the previous podcasts. Really cool.
Oh yeah. Amazing guy as well. Amazing guy. So Trader Man, Trader SC, Trading Lord. I mean, there's a bunch, man. There's Capo. Capo the Goat. He's really good at low cap gems and all. So he finds those projects, and you need to. Why I would say follow is not just to find coins, what to buy, what not to buy, but also to understand what are the points that they look at, right? Like, why does Capo choose a certain coin? Because of XYZ, right? You need to learn that from him rather than just blindly follow. I hate blindly following.
Right.
And these are some people that really give some good information, good fun.
I agree with you. All solid accounts. I've followed all of them, and it's interesting. And I'm kind of share with the audience. I'm kind of putting you on a spot here. I don't ask a lot of my guests, and I've been very fortunate to have a lot of people that I respect from Twitter on here, but it's kind of hard to ask about that because and I know, right? After you feel like, because you have there's always that core accounts that you really like and interact with, and you have trust. And like I always say, the tweets are there. You can see how accurate, or at least, but it's like, there's always somebody you forget, right? So it's like, I kind of hate it because you might, hey, you forgot about me, but it's like, I mean, this, like I said, to me, like the ones that you recommended, all excellent. But I say to anybody, like, look at the account, go look at the history. Yeah, some people delete tweets. I get that. But for the most part, you could see, right, if they've been accurate or not. And I think that's the way to do it. Yeah.
I mean, it depends on, I guess it depends on what you're looking for in someone's profile, right? Like, are you looking for professional advice, macroeconomical insights, or are you just looking for some, or are you just trying to follow like some 20-year-old who made a couple millions and just like talks to that, like, so it really depends on what it is that you want. But I mean, shit, I can bring up so many names, like Ice Bags. I love his Twitter. Like, it's fun.
Oh, he's good. Yeah, he's good.
Gainsy, so much fun. Reading the comments, just insane. So there's a lot of different people.
It's and I feel like, and this, and I feel like I know this is, it's different social medias, right? But there's something about Twitter when you get on crypto Twitter, you get Bitcoin Twitter, it's like a community. And I don't say it's a BS thing. It's just, it's a different vibe, a different mindset.
100%.
It's not Facebook. It's not Instagram. It's not, it's just, and it's like a light mind. Okay, what's going on in the crypto world? Like I said, I don't do Netflix all the time. I don't need to. I've got Twitter. There's always a damn story going on.
Twitter gives you news before the TV does. Before like
true.
Anything
you know
else,
what?
Right?
Like all the stories that break on Twitter, mainstream gets it. Like, I'll have family or friends, like it's like a lag.
Yes.
Hey, did you hear? I'm like, yes.
Yes.
Go there first.
It's insane. Yeah. It's an amazing platform.
Yeah. So question. So we are now in March of 2023. We're coming up fast and furious in this space. What do you wanted personal goals? So like I'm doing a job. Let me ask you, what do you see? Let me ask you, what do you see as something that you kind of want to do in the next year or so, or you know what I mean? Like whether content creation, expanding the watch business.
That's a good question. I'm actually happy you asked me that because as I said, I have been living the fast life all my life, right? Because I was born in Dubai, and it's that country it just is like that. Whether you like it or not, you're gonna live the busy life, the fast life, events every other day. Things keep happening.
Yeah.
I am now trying to preach and teach and just spread positivity and calmness, self-love, all of these things. Stay away from physical items, stay away from what do you call it, like tangible things like luxury items, because a lot of people lose themselves. And what I've realized is that, especially in this industry, especially in the times that we have right now, there's a lot of people who, like normal people, who are devastated. They go through a really tough time trying to understand, why do I keep losing money? Why do I keep getting liquidated? Or why is it that I don't know, like some people come to me and they're like, how can you sell a watch for $200,000? How do you sell a watch that's $500,000? And to be honest, it's not my sales technique or anything. I have found that it is because I'm at ease with myself. I'm at peace with myself, so this is something that I'm really trying to work on personally, even during the bull market, because there's a lot of reply guys on Twitter, but I don't see them as reply guys. I see them just like myself in 2018 when I first opened my Twitter and I started commenting other Kobe's tweets or Ludo's tweets or Gainsy's tweets, right? Those guys were there before. And I was a reply guy. But am I really a reply guy? I'm just somebody who's trying to make it in this world, right? And I want to help people do that. And so I've actually built a private group on Telegram currently. We'll plan on expanding. I opened this like 6 days ago. I'm already at 300 members. But they just want to keep it private. They don't want other people to join. They're like, we like this, we like that it's private. And all we do is I teach from personal experience. Sales can help you as a person, how marketing tactics can help you as a person, how understanding politics, but not like I'm not talking about like presidents and like country problems between countries, politics as in political ways and strategies to approach people? How can you communicate with someone to make them your friend, to make them like you, to build a community, to be able to sell something, to be able to put yourself out there, right? And that is my ultimate goal within this bull market, to gather as many people as who are like-minded and push this positivity, which is kind of crazy because I'm also deep into the luxury market, right? I'm like, buy my products, make me rich. But at the same time, I don't want you to lose yourself.
But you know what? But I think from talking to you and everything, I mean, you know, you come across to me as very humble, very real, you know, very no BS. I don't think so. I think you. Well, I'm saying I think you can still be that, and yet have you said the luxury line? Because it's like anything, right? If it's not for you, if and I've never heard anyone say something, but if somebody says, "Oh my gosh, it's too much," then don't buy it, right? You know what I mean? Like if it's not, it's like anything. Like if somebody's selling an island for 50 million. I would never hate on them for it. If they have it, I don't have 50 million to buy it, but somebody might. So I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's like anything. If you like it, get it. If not, don't. But don't hate on somebody. You know what I mean? Like trying to make things happen. I think that's cool.
Exactly. So you know, that's what I'm trying to do. Obviously, I'll continue building my brand. I am not going to stop because you know, we have a lot of experience in jewelry, and we have a lot of like stock and products, and we keep doing tests, and we keep building new pieces, making new pieces. You know, that is something that I think will forever live, like forever. You know, it's a business that I wanted to run itself online and sell online by itself, right? So that's another goal, but ultimately, it is what I said. I want to really push this prosperity and positivity into the community and bring as many people as I can. Who knows? Maybe we can NFT project out of it.
Yeah. No, that's cool. I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
So a couple of wrap it up with a couple of personal questions. If a plane's come and pick you up, it's going to take you to any country in the world, you go on for the weekend, 1 or 2 countries, where do you want to go that you have never been?
Tokyo. Japan.
Really? Okay.
I am so invested into going to Japan because it's to me it's unreal, right? Because they have my uncle. So I have an uncle who lives in Japan.
Okay.
And I've always heard about the things that they had, and like, you know, like just simple things like when you go to a restaurant and a screen is talking to you instead of a person.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, like
high tech. Very high tech.
Today it seems kind of normal, but they had this like 7 years ago, 8 years ago. You know, so definitely Japan. Also, I would really love to go to Germany because I know that they have the Museum of Money.
Okay.
History of money.
Really? Okay. I didn't know that. Okay.
I'm really invested in the history of money, by the way. Like, I just love how it came up. Like, why is there a currency? Why are there coins? Why is one silver, one copper, one paper? Like, do you even understand what it is that you're doing and what you're holding? Like, I feel like the moment you learn what that is the moment you will start appreciating everything else and be able to like make fine judgments.
It's interesting. I didn't realize they had that. I'd like to check that out. Something I always tell people when they ask me, or people that are like not understanding Bitcoin or they're trying to learn about it. And I'm like, look, you know, like, well, I don't understand how it's money. It just doesn't make sense. And I'm like, you know, I was explaining to them or trying to share with them what they can go read or whatnot. But it's like, I was thinking of back in the day, but 2,000 years ago, my money, I would give you rocks, right? You'd accept it. Then I came one day and said, I have a gold coin. You say, get the hell out of here, right?
Yeah.
And years later, right? Let's say in the early 1900s, the 1800s, I have paper money. Get the heck out of here, right? Yes. Then credit cards, right? Get the heck out of here. Now Bitcoin. Get the heck. It's like,
same.
You know what I mean? Like the history.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So, you know, I want to go and see where that started.
That's cool. Okay. And the final question, your food, if you have a choice to go to a restaurant, what are 2 of your favorite foods?
Oh my God. Okay. I love eating, man. That's a difficult question.
It is a hard one, but personal style. You know what I mean?
Okay, there's a restaurant in Dubai called it's called shit. I forgot the name.
They got some great restaurants too. I
forgot the name. Okay, there's one restaurant called Namos. It's a good restaurant. I love Namos because I love the vibe. It's like outdoorsy beach vibe, you know. Yeah. And they have amazing steak. I love steak.
Okay.
Right? And I would say also Persian food. My background is in Persian, and I love Persian food, but only my mom's cooking, man. Home cooking, which I haven't had in a very long time, so I miss it, you know. But steak, in a nice vibe, and definitely some home cooked Persian food, man. Definitely.
Very, Very cool. Very cool. Well, man, I appreciate you taking the time to come on the podcast. Where do people connect with you? Is Twitter the best way? How do people find you?
Yes, yeah. Twitter at Crypto Aladeen is the best way. My DMs are always open. If anybody has any questions, I'm open to answer. And I'm so happy that you have me here. Really, part of the group that I built is called the Uncommon Crowd. Part of that, as I said, is to build positivity and prosperity. It just so happens that I wanted to put myself out there, and bam, podcast. You know what I mean? Like, great, This is perfect. Thank you.
So, have you done podcasts? A lot of podcasts before?
No, I just went on a Twitch live once with Ponzi Trader, but that's it. Never.
This is your first podcast?
Yeah, I've never.
It makes me feel.
It's amazing. I know. I love it too. Honestly.
Wow. As a podcast host, like anytime somebody's gonna come on you first, that's like. Man, that kind of gets me right here.
I really like it. And, I'm hoping that after this, I get other people to invite me on their podcast because I really want to.
I would think so.
As well. Because
man,
like a lot of people know me for watches and jewelry, but they don't know
you're one of the biggest names on crypto Twitter, and I say that you're one of the. You look at like we were talking before, accounts that have been accurate to me, the ones that have been, and it's not just you have a lot of followers, but it's not just about that. It's has this account's tweets for the most part been accurate, and you're like one of the top. And so those are the accounts that I always tell people, like you said, follow the ones, shadow the ones that you can get a history of. So the fact that you come on, man, I'm honored, brother. Thank you so much. Thank you
so much for having me. Thank you so
much.
All
right. Well, thank you. On the latest episode of the Big Dawg Crypto Podcast, once again, Aladeen, thank you so much.
Cheers, man.
You've been listening to the Big Dawg Crypto Podcast. Follow on Twitter at WoofBigDawg. Woof, Big DAWG. And run faster than the competition. Woof, woof.